Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Woodstock, Georgia, it's time for Cherokee Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Welcome to another exciting and informative edition of Cherokee Business Radio. Stone Payton here with you this morning. And today's episode is brought to you in part by Woodstock Neighbors Magazine, bringing neighbors and business together. For more information, go to Facebook and Instagram at woodstockneighbors.bvm. And if you have a heart for community and want to grow your small business, please consider joining our Main Street Warriors Community Impact Movement. Go check us out at mainstreetwarriors.org. You guys are in for a real treat this morning. Please join me in welcoming to the broadcast with local color studio, Mr. Chris Coulter. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Stone. How are you?
I am doing well. It is an absolute delight to have you in the studio. You know, you and I connected, I believe, right down the street here at, what's the name of it's a co-working space.
The Circuit.
Yeah, the Circuit with the coffee shop. Love those folks at the coffee shop. And I knew the moment we started talking, we got to get this guy in this studio. You got some really cool stuff happening up at Local Color Studio in Canton. I got 1,000 questions, Chris. I know we're not going to get to them all, but maybe a great place to start would be if you could share with me and our listeners mission, purpose. What are you and your team really trying to do for folks with this thing?
Well, Stone, first of all, I'm excited to be here, equally as excited to be here as you are to have me. So thanks for having me on. Yes, we're very excited about the studio that we've opened up there in downtown Canton. And the purpose of the studio is it's a community art studio that was really a vision of my wife's, Shanna Coulter, it's just a home for creative folks in Canton. It's 6,200 square feet of space there in downtown Canton that houses some resident artists that lease out 11 co-working studios for artists and also teach classes out of the studio. It's a teaching and learning studio with classes that vary from pottery, ceramics to portrait painting to en plein air to all kinds of different disciplines and modalities. We have a full ceramic studio there at Local Color with 10 pottery wheels and 3 kilns and a bunch of paints and glazes. Also an open studio with all kinds of art materials and supplies that you can come in and work through the day painting or working on whatever you're creating. So really it is a place where creative people can come in and practice their craft and all different disciplines from beginners all the way through novice. Shanna really, I think, wants to take that piece of creativity that everyone has in them and develop that and help you communicate that and get better at what you like to do.
Or say, I got to know, what is en plein air?
Okay, en plein air is in plain air.
Okay.
Translated literally, but basically it's landscape outdoor painting.
Okay.
We have an artist that is Brenda Pinnock, who's a local artist there in Canton that teaches that class, and she's a really high quality instructor and painter. And so it's outdoor painting. It's landscapes. It's what you see when you walk outside. It has a lot to do with light and landscapes and just natural settings.
I'm going to sound so smart when I go talk to my wife, who is kind of artsy herself. And so she's going to be thrilled that we've had this conversation. So there's dedicated space that an artist can rent full time, like that can be their space. And there's space that someone like my wife, Holly, can just walk in and say, hey, I need a space for the day. Or
absolutely. There's an open studio where you can come in and purchase a day pass that will allow you to use the materials that we have there and take space in the studio and just work and express and be around other people that are also creating. I think artists like to work in collaborative environments, and that's what Shanna's trying to create down there at the studio, is an environment where you've got really professional resident artists that are interacting with people that are at different skill levels, so that they can kind of come together and learn from each other.
Man, I just love the concept. My wife, Holly, is an accomplished painter, and I know I'm biased, but she's an accomplished painter. She's a novice, what do you call it, potterer?
Yeah.
the clay stuff. But you have instruction as well. Like, can she take a class?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There will be a full set of programming for the ceramic studio come January that'll include beginner pottery where you learn to throw pots on a wheel or coffee cups or platters or whatever it is that you're looking to make. You come in, take a piece of clay and you form it into what you like. And then you glaze it, paint it, and you have a finished piece. But yes, I mean, you could come in and purchase a class that was a 5-week class, let's say, that was one class per week, 2 hours a week for 5 weeks. And at the end of that class, the goal would be that you reached a certain skill level and that you learned how to throw a cup. And then you could take it from there and develop into more, you could further that discipline. So it doesn't matter that she's not a professional potter. We want her to come in and register for a class and take a class and start that journey and start creating. And from that standpoint, or if she's an accomplished painter already, she can certainly come in and look at the instruction that we have to further her discipline there as well, because I can guarantee you that she'll find some classes that I think she'll find beneficial and that will help her develop her craft.
I love it. And then when she reaches a certain point, can she also just say, you know what, I think I'll go throw a pot next Tuesday. I'm going to go to Local Color and rent the wheel for a little while. Is that it?
Absolutely. We teach a lot of classes, because we do want people to kind of come through, taking a class until they get proficient at what they're doing. And then,
that makes sense.
Then you could come in and purchase a day pass and have access to the pottery wheel and then the paints and glazes that we do have. Some of the materials that we have, will be basic, and you can certainly purchase your own. And if you're a member of the studio, you get some locker space. So if you have your own paints and glazes that you want to keep in a locker, you certainly can come in and do that. But yeah, we have day passes, we have monthly memberships, annual memberships, and then we have all the way up to, like I said, renting the studio space, which, they range anywhere from 95 square feet to 110 square feet. And you could set up your own studio and just be in there working.
I love it. I think you've probably just earned a new customer.
Awesome.
I've got a locker at Maxwell's Cigar Shop, and I can see Holly with a locker at your place.
Very similar. Absolutely.
So I can't wait to tell Holly about this. Okay, let's back up. Let's talk about the origin story, because I'm trying to envision, it's Shanna, you said, right?
Shanna's my wife,
Shanna.
yes.
So she walks in one day and she says, all right, Chris, I got this new idea. Like, how did it come together in the early going?
That's funny, Stone. So yeah, you kind of hit it right on the head. So Shanna taught at Cherokee High School for 7 years, and she was the art teacher there and the head of the art department when she left Cherokee High School. She decided in 2021 to not renew her contract. After teaching there for 7 years, she felt that she wanted to create an environment that she really wanted to teach in. She loves teaching kids, and she loves being with kids, and she loves bringing creativity out of kids. And so she decided to create her own environment to teach in. And yes, she came to me and said, I'm not renewing my contract. I'm not teaching next year. I can't do it. And she, told me about the idea of opening the art studio. And yes, I was very nervous in the very beginning because, I'm in the mortgage business and, by nature, I'm a risk analyzer. And, this was a large piece of, a large square foot space that we were taking here.
Yeah, no kidding.
And, but Shanna was very persistent, to say the least, and she pushed and kept defining the vision and kept defining the vision and kept defining the vision. And so after 2 years of laboring, she brought this thing into reality. And, it took me a minute to get on board, to be honest with you, from the very beginning. But, I think once I understood the vision and saw the potential for, who could benefit from this and the way it was going to build community. Like you said, it's, if you're interested in building community, this is a great, radio station for you. And that's what we wanted to do in Canton. And that really is, I think, one of the main thrusts of the studio. It's a community art studio. What the community wants it to be is what it will become. So if someone comes in and asks and says, we want to do a drawing class on Monday nights, then we want to be able to provide that space for an outlet for people to come in and be creative. This thing will take shape as we go, but we want it to be there in downtown Canton for the community. And, Canton is a developing downtown, and, we're really hoping that this will have an impact on the culture and the community there in Canton in a positive way, that adds some depth and culture, if you will, I guess, to Canton as it develops.
So are you finding, I'm sure the answer to this is yes, but I'm going to ask anyway, are you finding that the local business community the community leaders are embracing your idea and trying to help you get the word out and supporting you in this effort?
Absolutely. I think Canton has been hugely encouraging to Shanna as she's gone along. In fact, I would say in the very beginning of the development of her vision and idea, it was probably the business community in downtown Canton that kept her persistent and pushing forward. Because they really wanted to see this happen. So yes, the business leaders from council people and people in government to other businesses that were investing in the community at the same time were very encouraging and supportive, and brought her and us into the fold, and continue to support us, as we go through it. So no, absolutely, the community, the business community, and the government and leadership in downtown Canton has just been phenomenal.
Well, I'm not surprised, but I am delighted to hear that. And I've heard other people speak of the Canton community that way. So not surprised at all, but delighted. So I know it's kind of early as things unfold, but at this point, what are you enjoying the most? What are you finding the most rewarding about getting this thing off the ground?
Well, really, I think, for me personally, it is number one, seeing my wife happy and seeing her, bring this vision to life and just get that kind of satisfaction. This is what she was born to do. Yeah. And she created the environment for herself. So watching her go through this phase of building this and creating this vision has been super rewarding for me personally. I've enjoyed the number side of it. I've enjoyed looking at the financial projections. I've enjoyed the business side of it, and really I see that as my role in the company, is to make sure that this vision is able to stay here for a long time. And from a financial standpoint, I would like for Shannon to be able to continue to do what she does best, and support her in that way. So I've really enjoyed. I'm a numbers guy myself, and so I've enjoyed bringing that along and doing the books at Local Color and running the payroll and, just those things, being involved in a project like this and getting it off the ground has just been a lot of fun.
Now, you mentioned you got a day job. You're in the mortgage world, right? Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that work.
Oh, Lord have mercy. It's that's a career I've had for 29 years, and in a lot of respects has been really good to us as a family. And I remain in that community and remain in that business. As the mortgage business has taken a hit in the last couple of years, with rates being as high as they are and the price of housing being as high as they are. You got a lot of people sitting on the sidelines, not a lot of people buying houses out there right now. And it's been that way for 18 months. We hope that that's going to change in 2024. With some of the Federal Reserve announcements last week, it looks optimistic for that business, this coming year. But it's, also it has given me an opportunity to kind of not step away, but to take interest in other things as it has slowed down. So maybe that was maybe it was meant to be that way. Maybe God was telling me to move in this direction and get involved in Local Color, and so He's provided me with that opportunity. But the business is still there. I still have a lot of connections in that world, and a lot of good relationships and a lot of good friends. And we'll continue to use that as a revenue stream and serve that community as well as we go forward.
So how does the whole sales and marketing thing work for a mortgage guy? Because you can't pick up the phone and just call someone and ask them if they're interested in a mortgage. It's a timing thing. Is it mostly referral? How do you get new mortgage business?
Sure. Well, I have a database of 29 years of closed customers that, also have friends and family that are coming up. And so certainly I can get on the phone and call them and ask them if they're interested in a mortgage. And that's part of what, that's part of what I do on the, on the daily. I've always built my business over the years on the mortgage side. It's realtor based. So I know a lot of real estate agents in the community, and those guys control in large part the buyers in the market, and so they have the opportunity to connect those buyers with with mortgage people. And so I've developed relationships over the years with realtors. That's one way, and continue to press those relationships. I work with a lot of teams, a lot of real estate teams, as well as individual agents. But I've kind of set up my mortgage team to work with real estate teams, and so we do a good job. We know what we're doing. My partner and I have been in the business both for about 29 years, and And so, yeah, realtor based is probably the main source of revenue. There's like I said, the marketing to my database. I've got a large database, and then I'm in a lot of networking groups. I'm in a Power Core group that is a closed networking group that meets on Friday mornings, and that's full of community business owners and leaders. And, we support each other's business in that referral network. And, so really it's just a networking, event and marketing to real estate agents in my database.
So, and then same question, I guess, sales.
And then this year, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but this year, what we wanted to add was things like this, getting on the radio. There's different ways to do business. And,
right.
We want to make sure that in Canton and in Cherokee County that we own our backyard and that we are the go-to mortgage people, in this county. And so we really want to connect well with everybody here. And not just realtors and not just my database, but we want to be involved in the community. So that we want to let people know what we're doing so that when there is a need for a mortgage that they hear about, that we're the people that they think about.
Yeah. And doing good work for 29 years, that's a pretty good sales tool as well, right?
That's true.
It's like the best sales tool you can have. Yeah.
We know what we're doing.
Same question, I guess, on the Local Color studio. Like, how do you get new business? Can you advertise for that, or you're out in the community doing stuff and just let them know, or?
All of the above. Absolutely. I mean, Shanna and her team, I think, have a really strong social media game. So if you follow us, you can follow Local Color. It's at Local Color Canton.
Okay.
On Facebook and Instagram. And you can see some of the class offerings that we have, and they market that way, certainly. Also it is, there's a lot of low hanging fruit for, a community art studio. There was an arts center in Cherokee that closed down a couple of years ago. And so there's kind of an orphan community of artists out there and potters out there in particular that didn't have a place to go once that studio closed. We're filling that gap. And so it's a matter of letting people know that we're here through things like this radio program, through, on the ground networking at YPOW, like is where you and I met.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you who don't know, this is Young Professionals of Woodstock, and Chris could still slide under the wire, but I'm a little long in the tooth to be called a young professional, but they let me come every week. And it's another example of a great community, right? It's those folks coming together.
Absolutely. It's just been that and the Canton business leaders up there in Canton. That's a big group. And, we've gone door to door in downtown Canton, handing out invitations to our holiday soiree to let people know that, hey, we're your neighbor. We're here. Please come look at the studio, check us out, understand what we offer, and help us, because we need help exposing this to the public and letting people know that we're here. And so really it's been through networking and in those ways. And so the marketing, I think, for this is it's wide open in terms of who our customer is, because everybody has some form of creativity. I mean, even you and I sat down and talked, and you said, well, my wife Holly is an accomplished painter. I didn't know that before I walked in here, but it seems that many people that I talk to say, my so-and-so, my brother, my sister, my cousin, my wife is a potter or is a painter, and would love some instruction in that way. So I think the number of people that can benefit from knowing that we're there and would be interested in coming to the studio is just, it's a really wide net. So, we're trying to market this on the ground in the community of Canton first. But just, social media, and then, purely on the ground networking and attending events. And, we had a holiday party on Saturday night, and we invited people to that. We need people to come into the studio to really get a sense and a feel for what goes on in there. I think when you walk into Local Color Studios, and get a cup of coffee and talk to Shanna and take a look around the studio and see what's there, you're going to want to come back. The feel there is very positive. It's very creative. It is very, it's a loving community place, I guess is one way that I would describe it. So we want people when they come in to feel a certain way and to get a certain thing out of being at Local Color, even if it's just for a short period of time. So would encourage people to stop in and say hello and see what we're about.
That strikes me as the best way to do. I mean, it's fine if you want to hop online, you want to join a class, join a class, but if nothing else, just come visit, right? Have a cup of coffee, look around.
We'll give you a free cup of coffee. Won't cost you a thing.
There you go.
Just come in and talk to us for a minute and see what's there. And, it'd be our honor to have you and to host you.
Well, and I was thinking too, and I, to my knowledge, have no artistic ability on any of the things you described, but I can envision like a Business Radio X team event. Maybe we could reach out and say, I'd love to get my team down there and we'll all paint, or we'll all make a pot, or we could probably organize something like that, right?
Absolutely. We want people to do that. We definitely, as we have led up to Christmas, we have tried to promote team events that, where you could come in and create a Christmas ornament and spend 2 hours, creating that, or whether it's printmaking, or there's a wide variety of activities that you could do, and come in and have a glass of wine and listen to some music and create something, and people respond to that and love that. Shanna does a teacher's lounge on I believe it's the third Thursday. It's coming up on the 21st, where all of her teacher contacts have an opportunity to come in from 7 to 9 and just relax and just decompress, be together, create something, listen to music and just visit. So yes, it could be a great team building atmosphere. With my mortgage team, we're going to do an event in January. That's a Thirsty Thursday.
She going to give you a decent price? She's going to give you a break?
No, she's not.
Full retail.
She drives a really hard bargain. It's going to cost me more,
right.
I think. So that's okay, because, I will happily, add to the bottom line of Local Color with my mortgage business anytime that I can. So, we'll come in and host a group of realtors that can come in and have a glass of wine, and we can just visit, see the studio, and Shanna will give them a couple of hours worth of instruction, and
Sweet.
And we will and it'll be a great team building event. So yeah, we love doing stuff like that. We had music in there on Saturday night. We're going to start doing music in there. We had a holiday party.
You mean
on
like
Saturday
live?
Night. Like live music.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, we had Scott Puckett, who's a local Canton musician, in on Saturday. We had a holiday party, not for our staff, but for the public. It was a fundraiser that we did, but but we had Scott Puckett in from 3 to 6, and then we had Jamie and David Roberts, as well as Emily Tober, playing music there from 6 to 9. And so it turned out to be a great space for live music. The acoustics were very good, and it was a great environment for that. And we really, really had a good time, and decided, and what came out of that on Saturday night, I think, was the decision to have live music on Friday and Saturday nights. And so,
yes,
we're going to do a 5 to 9 type of hour program where we bring in different musicians to play. I mean, music is art. So certainly it fits well with what we're doing, and you can come in and listen to some good music that way. We think that's important, and we're going to start that coming in January. And I think the first one is going to be Scott Puckett on January 5th. I don't have the hours yet, but if you stay tuned to our Instagram and our Facebook, that'll be coming online, and you'll be able to see us promote that.
So I'm going to switch gears on you a little bit before we wrap. I'm interested, I don't know when you would find the time based on what you've said, but what passions, if any, do you pursue outside the scope of the mortgage work and the Local Color studio? My listeners know that I like to hunt, fish, and travel.
Yep.
But is there anything that you just outside the scope of what we've talked about that really turns you on, that you pursue?
It does. I mean, I've always been a music lover, so so I would have cited that, except now that kind of folds into the work, into the work world as well. So I love barbecue. I love to cook. And I love to feed people. I would call that another one of my passions. And so that has always gone hand in hand with my mortgage business, feeding people. It's the way I kind of built the business in a way was feeding realtors. Realtors like to eat and I like to cook. So that kind of fit. And I think it endears you to people when you cook for them. And over the years, that just became a kind of a mission of mine when there's a need, and when somebody's always ill, somebody's always needing a meal. So if I could step in and provide, and then I became a person that people called when meals were needed, or events were needed. I'll feed. What I really like to do is feed large groups of people. I like the challenge of feeding 300, 350 people.
Oh, wow.
And barbecue's a good way to do that. I mean, if you smoke 6 pork butts, you can feed a couple hundred people, and that's not smoking 6 at a time is not that hard. I mean, as long as you've got the equipment to do it.
Well, it can be a fun ritual, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's great work. I mean, a great Saturday to me is to get up at 8:00 in the morning and start the smoker and get that going and have a cup of coffee and put the meat on the smoker and watch a Georgia football game, do yard work and keep feeding the fire. And it's just, I find that to be really satisfying, both cooking for large groups of people and just feeding people in general. I really enjoy.
Well, I'm so glad I asked, because I enjoy smoking the meat and all that, not for large groups, but at the house, I've got a little starter smoker that, where I don't hurt myself too bad. But I like the idea that I now have maybe a Chris hotline. I can say, okay, I'm getting ready to maybe try to smoke some venison, coach me through that so it doesn't dry out on me.
Absolutely. Or you just bring it to me and say, hey, drop this off and I'll have it ready for you on Monday morning or something.
There you go. Or sit with you and have an IPA.
Absolutely. That's the best. That's the way to do it, is to sit there and visit and talk. We got 8 hours to do it. So
there you go.
we can do it. We can accomplish a lot in 8 hours, but
I've said this before, gang, but if you want to get really expert advice and make friends quick and get some help like this, get you a radio show. You meet the smartest people, and they're always good at something.
That's right.
It's a great way to meet them. All right, what's the best way for people to connect with you guys? Tap into the work you're doing at Local Color, whatever you think is appropriate. Websites, LinkedIn, Instagram. I just want to make sure that people can connect with y'all.
Absolutely. Website first. So it's www.localcolor.studio. And on that website, you'll find a calendar of programming going out through January. And you can see some of the classes that we're offering. We'd like for you to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Local Color Canton, LOCALCOLORCANTON, at Local Color Canton. You'll find us on Facebook and Instagram, and really there they push out a lot of content and a lot of promotional material on some of the programs that we offer. So those two places. If you want to reach me directly, I've got my cell phone is 404-735-3111, Chris at localcolor.studio, or the direct line to the studio, 678-269-7441. And we're located on 85 North Street in downtown Canton. That's important because we want you to stop by.
Oh, you're right there in the heart of, you're right there.
Oh, we're downtown. We're right downtown. Yep.
Fantastic. Well, Chris, it has been an absolute delight having you in the studio, man. Keep up the good work. What you're doing is important on so many levels, and we sure appreciate you, man.
Hey, thank you for having us on, Stone. It was a real pleasure to be here.
Oh, my pleasure, man. All right, until next time, this is Stone Payton for our guest today, Chris Coulter with Local Color Studio, and everyone here at the Business RadioX family, saying we'll see you again on Cherokee Business Radio.